video, but basically I'll give you guys an introduction to what I'll be talking about. I was watching one of these dudes that were like, oh, he made a 1 minute video. He's got almost hundreds of thousands, I think, of subscribers. And I noticed a common trend that keeps landing people in the spot that they don't want to be. And I can't really say that for myself, but then again, who knows? I don't see myself doing it this way, but the top down problem. If you're trying to get to the top, you're not at the top yet. You have to work with the bottom. Everybody keeps trying to work with the top because they're trying to get that quick paycheck, that quick, oh, I got that influence, so now, I'm going to stay rich or stay in my position. People got the wrong idea. There's a lot of superstition too involved with it, with that decision. But I'm noticing how people are more chasing the top rather than trying to build a foundation. And I think that just really just describes the problem in society today. You got other countries, the ones that have been coming up and reaching our level, trying to at least, they're working with each other at the bottom. They're not like, oh, that person doesn't have, so I'm not going to do business with them. That's how you get that upward mobility, is you need to lay the foundation. So everything that I've been doing is like trying to lay down a foundation, right? But I'm seeing a lot of other people are just like, chase the top, chase the top, chase the top. Oh, I can't get to the top, so I give up. Like, that's not that, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be chasing the top. That's completely pointless. The people at the top don't want you. That's why you need to build a foundation. You build the house going up. That's a problem. That's a lot of the problem with like the truly poverty community, like the homeless community. They're not actually working with each other, and maybe a lot of them just don't know how to. But that's just the general issue. If they had all worked together, they wouldn't have even a fraction of the problems that they see today. So I think a good piece of advice for everybody is to stop trying to chase the top. The top doesn't. It's if you're not already there, it doesn't want you. Try to work with the people at your own level. Every day when I go out and I do DoorDash, I'm working with people at my own level, people that don't have, the luxury to go and have a maid service to go and grab the product or whatever they're trying to pick up. These are people that maybe there's a lot of disabled people that need to get their medicine. The disabled people that can't leave the house, they can't afford to have somebody always on site to go and do these deliveries for them or something. So I'm working with people at my own level. But it seems like a lot of other people are chasing that top rather than just working with the people that are at their level. Just because you own a home or whatever, you can't just feel like you're above it. You're not above it until you've paid off the home and then you own a business on top of that. You're not on top until you're on top. That's my point. And stop chasing the top as your default mechanism, because that's the problem with society today. You have to build the bottom first. This mostly goes to like the homeless community. I understand when you're in the homeless situation, like fully homeless, it's violent. You're dealing with violence all the time. People stealing your shit. People, and then on top of that, you try to do these right things, and oh, you're sleeping in the wrong place. Well, guess what? You get a night in jail. That's the type of shit they're fucking dealing with. But if they all worked together, or at least even knew how to work together, then that's how they build the foundation to get to the top. You have to build the house before you can live it. Not everybody gets lucky and just flies with the stars. That's why I understand what level I'm at. I'm not going to go chasing the top. I don't go messaging super powerful and important people and famous people, because that's not where I'm at. But if I can reach that point with you guys, with my audience, which I was trying to do, then maybe we could all build this house together. But it just seems like nobody actually wants to work together. They want to use each other as power to build themselves, but in a cannibalistic way, in like a vampiric way. That's beyond destructive. That destroys every bit of your future that you ever dreamed of. you know, like you have to try to actually be like a clean-minded individual with the people that you're dealing with. So when you're going around and you're like, okay, I drive a truck. Great. That's great. You were able to afford the truck by borrowing the money and you still haven't paid it off. So you're still at my level. If you haven't paid off the truck yet, you're still at my level. You still don't have the truck. You're just driving it. So stop acting like you're above it. It's and that's really my point with this video. Is just I keep seeing people saying like, why am I not there yet? Oh, everybody's gonna stop, gonna try so hard, so hard to get to the top, and it's like you're not gonna get there. What is this person doing? They're like, stop, stop, stop. What do I stop? Somebody commented for me to stop. Am I making too much sense? I feel like I started getting attacked or told to stop. I think it's because maybe I'm on the target pretty hardcore. But it's like, how is that a target? How is how's that a target? Anyways, I think that really just puts it all together, pieces it together. I could keep rambling on about it, but I gotta turn my dash on, so I'm gonna go split screen. But if you'd like to hear the rest of what I was saying, just go ahead and swipe back. As usual, I try to jam all the real stuff in the beginning, so you guys can rewind, or then I do like a conclusion that's more important than the rest sometimes. And so, if you want to know a basic rule with my videos is I put a lot of fluff in the middle in the way that I just let you guys see what I'm doing in my life, so we can keep updated. Like the other night, I broke my toe. The thing's literally purple, black, blue, very red. And I'm gonna go work. And I ended up working that day. I finished that order with a broken toe. I ended up going to work in the morning, did not sleep, and then I went to work. I went to sleep, worked at night, and then stayed up all night. Went to work this morning. So that's where I'm at. That's my update. So there's all the filler, fluffy, kind of pointless stuff that's about my life. But basically, the revelations that I'm coming to is just I have been kind of doing it right, and I felt like I was doing it right. So I'm glad that I have been doing it right. When it comes to relations with society, you got to work with the level that you're at. I feel like a lot of people are just reaching too high for the stars, and you're not there yet. Me, I'm not reaching high enough, and I know I'm capable of being up there because I was already up there. But I'm not going up there until it's a foundation built. That's to explain my life. I don't know how you guys feel. You guys might feel do things a little differently. I'm gonna keep it Trump around here. Let's go Trump. Mega. Mega. Another thing, like, the invasion, the foreigners coming to the country, what they could have done is work with the worst of us, the people that are in the worst situations, and they would have gained so much support. But they didn't. They decided to attack us. They decided to laugh at us, send our money to other countries. If you wanted to imagine like a liberal, good-hearted idea why they would want to allow an invasion, here's their point of view. So what they consider like what's going on is basically a replacement of the workforce that's not available. That's their claim. The workforce isn't available in America, so let's import the third world. That's what the older generation did. That's what like the boomers did basically. They were like, "Oh, we got money, we can pay for this, cheap labor. We can pay for this cheap fridge. It used to cost, $5,000, now it's 500. Now we can buy it." And then Now the refrigerators are now $5,000 again, and they're still buying it from these places. So, it never changed. All they did was just sell our manufacturing off the older generation. But um, basically, they didn't want to build the foundation, and the people that came here and invaded did not want to build the foundation. Just everybody robbed from us, and now we're screwed. But I want you all to understand that we kind of just kept going down this path because nobody wanted to build the foundation after it broke down. Because like that's where we're at now. Our foundation is broken down. Our fucking bridges are falling apart. There's metal all over the road. There's trash all over the side of the road. Never see anybody doing community service. It's kind of a problem. Let me go through this in split screen. And hey, how you guys doing? You got Sherry, Victidi, Tundo. I don't know who these people are, but imagine that. I'll be right back. People that claim that they care about me, they're mad because I don't reach up to the top. It's pointless to reach up to the top if you do not have the foundation. You're just gonna keep falling. You're gonna keep falling. There's no ladder underneath you. You can't push yourself the rest of the way if you don't have a foundation. So I gotta work with small steps. And if you keep tripping me up in my small steps, then I'm never gonna make it. And you know that. If you're the one that's getting in my way, you know that. That's why you keep getting in my way. But yeah, rewind the video if you're curious on hearing the rest. Like rewind. I already did my most of the video, so this is all filler. See, like here's a good example. So I can't afford a decent pair of goggles, but these still work. I'll go ahead and keep using them. But I'll have to modify them. This is working at your level, not living above your means. I can't afford a nice bag, so I made one for cheaper. Dude, this is $75 brand new. This works just fine. I found this free on the side of the road. Other people would have just drove by it because they think that it's below them. They're looking for Lambo, not the power blower. Which is cool because that gives me a chance to rise up. But I'm still getting tripped up. It's like people could have stopped tripping me up. From being rude, purposely rude. I'm dealing with it every day. Now it's an everyday situation. I'm not talking about out there. When I'm talking about out there, it's usually the cars. But I'm talking about something different. And these are a little bit foggy. That's why I don't like wearing them. They kind of messed me up a little bit scratched. Yeah, if you're somebody who cares about someone, stop telling them to reach for the top of the ladder. If that's what you keep telling them to do, you can't get there. You can't just magically get there. You're gonna have a 1% chance of getting there. You're gonna have a 99% chance of falling, collapsing, and breaking your fucking toe like I do. if you're a parent, you're trying to raise a kid and shit, so like tell them to dream, to have those dreams, but don't expect them to reach those goals just magically. Not everybody has the lottery. It's not about is this specific person capable. It's everything to do with chance. Everything has a physical chance. There is no such thing as superstition. If you're a superstitious person, you think what's going on in your head affects somebody else. It doesn't. You need to speak it. You need to act it. Actions speak louder than words, but words and actions speak way louder than thoughts. There's a lot of superstitious people out there that continually think by shooting for the stars every single time that's the only way to get up. You know, I've been slowly building, slowly building, slowly building. While I slowly build, I slowly think. You know, when I saw the dude's video, I'm like, um, you know, I just feel like everybody who has a complaint today, it seems like they're trying to speak up to somebody higher than them. And then you got people like myself who maybe there's people that I'm speaking to, like most of the people I'm speaking to for like positive reinforcement are at my level or below me. And it's like, that's who I'd like to reach. That's who I'm trying to get my message out to. The rich people would just use it to exploit. So when I try to explain things, I'm not trying to give rich people, you know, an easy piece of information for them to grab onto. That's that's why they don't like me. That's why they don't want to fund me in any way. You know, I had my GoFundMe up for many thousands of views. Talked about it many times. And yeah, so I'm gonna press dash, dash. Wait, bro, door dash. Is that what it means? Door dash? Dash, a little dash of salt. Dash in the box. Package onto the person's property at their door. So I grabbed that footrest. I've been using it as a pillow. The only difference between a surviving homeless person and a rich person is that the rich person built the house. The homeless person built the couch. That's it. They didn't build a house. I didn't have anybody to make the house with. I didn't have anybody that I could really trust to, you know, build with. On top of that, the people that I thought I could trust, thankfully I didn't start actually building with them, but they ended up turning on me. There's very few people in this world who have not turned into some kind of zombie form of mutant, angry, aggressive. So that is why this thing was sitting straight, and that's where it needs to be. So when I do modify this later, I'm gonna have to I'll modify it with a ridge going down, and it'll probably grab that whole shape, and maybe it'll hug my body better. I think that's good advice though for a lot of people is to stop trying to reach for the top. If you don't have the ladder underneath, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can maybe grab onto it, but what's the chance that you're going to get knocked off of it? 99% of the time, you're going to get knocked off that top if you go straight for it. Yeah, of course, you should strive for it. If you see that, dude, if you see that wrong, if you see that ladder, go ahead and, give a quick hop. If it's easy enough to get to because you're up high enough on the ladder, go for it. But don't, without having built the ladder underneath, don't try to hop up to that next thing. A lot of people, they got to that top because of chance, not because of superstition, not because of, you know, this or that. Like, even people who are corrupt, at the end of the day, they're all helping each other. The deck's stacked against everybody outside of it, but it's also stacked against each other because they're all fighting for the same power, if that makes sense. What is that power? It's all money. And if everybody has it, then the money is not powerful anymore. That's why they need to make sure that we don't have the money. But how do you have a balance of they have just enough to survive and stay at the bottom? That's what they're trying to do. Like, we can easily break out of that. That's all they're doing is like they're giving us crumbs, but if we stack the fucking crumbs, dude, we can make things happen. That's why we have things like GoFundMe. But if you're gonna go spending it on somebody like Carmelo Anthony, who literally like insane. That was insane. Like, I didn't even know about most of like the riots and stuff that were happening surrounding it. Giving money to a cause like that, and they're not even giving money to their own community. Like, people who received that money bought mansions. That money should have gone to people in your community to help them get up off their feet or get onto their feet, so you would have a better community. I'm seeing a lot more homeless people out there, and it's a lot more young people too. And the young people seem like they're kind of violent, like automatically violent. It's like something did them wrong. So that's the real danger that we do have coming up is the next generations, the youngest, they hate the older generation. And the older that you get, the more that you're gonna look like one of these older people that they hate. That's why everybody who's semi old right now, or somebody like that's in their 30s and stuff, you got to think of the next generation is going to look at you like you were the one that caused this. Always remember that. And it's reconnecting like usual, of course. Yes. Everything's not working. Fucking hackers, get away. So the oldest generations right now are setting it up to where we're like our generation, millennials, definitely Gen X, but millennials, Gen Z eventually will absolutely be seen as the issue. Like, it's gonna be bad, and all they have to do is vote in a certain direction, and poof, we're gone. So that's what's coming up is like in the next 5 or 10 years, if things keep existing, we still have a system of laws. The next generation knows that it comes down to voting, and it comes down to just pressing a button, and they can cancel out all their problems. So if you're older right now and you think you're going to go into retirement and there's going to be such thing as, you know, social barriers in the future, no. social safety nets rather. So basically, what you're looking at is the oldest generation is not going to be on its way out. It's going to be like 80, 90 years old. Our life expectancy has gone up, minus the fake news out there. The statistics don't really tell the true story. And the truest of old are going to be only able to do a ballot, and their votes are going to be harvested, and everything's going to turn into, we need to break the system with democracy, and you're going to see democracy break the system, and there's not going to be anything left. There's not going to be a social safety net for those who are super old. So if you bust your body, break your back or something, you might have a hard time. You don't want to let that happen. When you're young, you can break bones and stuff. You could like twist yourself the wrong way. It's like you could get back to good health again. But that's just to not deter people from like, oh, we want to be safe and everything. No, you gotta break bones when you're young. Have them heal properly, obviously. Let me bring this to like food stamps situation where they took sodas and I think candies off the list. I think that's awesome. I don't know exactly what they took off the list, but they like the news is that they took off like candies and sodas and stuff, but I think that just makes sense. Like if they took off cakes, I don't know if they did that, but if they took off cakes, it makes sense because it's like, can't you buy sugar with food stamps? If you can buy sugar and you can buy baking goods, then you can go and bake it. Likely you have a house that you can actually bake in. So nobody should be complaining if they can't buy candied, you know, peanuts and stuff. Like, especially when you can go make it. And you'd be better off making it because you'd know how to make it. You'd know how to make it. So that's what I didn't complete. I didn't connect that part to the bottom. So it doesn't force that shape. But, oh my god, I just learned a new technique, first of all. So there's no guarantee. Like, I don't have to use the same stitch for that. I don't even have to pull the stitch out. I could rip this off, replace it, and then cut the excess. But keep this side attached. And you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm having this thing around, the Celsius. I'm not a fan of it, but it's $1. Well, it's like 92 cents or something. It's like 95 cents or something when you buy a Polar Pop in this. So for $2 you get one of these and a Polar Pop. But then last night, I got a Red Bull and a breakfast sandwich for $4. That was kind of an impressive deal. I think my camera angle probably sucks, huh? And a part of that whole not reaching for the top thing is don't try to get in somebody else's way. Because all you're doing is you're using up time and energy that you could be building on yourself. Okay. When you do things properly, you have clarity of thought. Those people with like really foggy brains, like you get into one of these topics, they can't even dig, a centimeter into the soil. When you find that, it's because they're being disingenuous. They're not working on actual building, themselves. They're trying to manipulate the outside world from outside of them. Like I said, everything is controlled by God. All physical things are controlled by God. So, like, somebody is supposed to experience something, but they can make it out of it. There's a way to avoid a worse outcome. But even that is manipulating. You just put your faith in God, and that's it. Well, that's a little bit above me. Then you become ascension. So I guess the Bricks and Minifigs victims GoFundMe got shut down. That shit's getting messy over there. CoffeeZilla just came out with a new video. I haven't watched the whole thing through yet. I'll have to go revisit it. Very interesting topic. You see full corruption right out there in the open, and they still try to sue people. That's the top punching down, dude. You can't, like, if you punch against the concrete, what happens? Ow. If you punch against the hard sand, you're gonna crater it, right? Like a soft sand, you're gonna crater it. If you punch against hard concrete, you're gonna hurt your hand, right? And that's the difference between a weak foundation, us, and a strong foundation, not us. I understand I don't do the video thing or whatever while I talk. I understand that a lot of people like that sort of form of information, but like I said, these are more like I told you so's for later. A lot of the thoughts that I had 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, and even 5 years ago didn't get captured on video. It got captured in text. There's text logs. I used to tap, text a lot. So I'd also be calling people. So a lot of my views, a lot of my thoughts, my theories have usually been in just one-on-one conversations, barely in group chats, and so like um, that's why I do these videos now is because I'm like I can't let these thoughts slip. I can't let these pieces of information that could have helped save the future slip. The butterfly effect is real, but in the way that it just solves things. Like you can correct the universe. That's why we have free will. But we're automatically imperfect. We're just imperfect beings. All right. We're never going to be perfect. But by striving for perfection, you're complementing the universe. So that's the change that we can make. If you try to make a change in the negative way, it's usually going to have a bounce back effect. You can't go too negative too quick. You try to go in the positive way, you might get some pushback once you get to a certain point, but you really don't have very much in your way when you're trying to build upwards. As long as you have built a sturdy staircase or a sturdy ladder. All right. Society has forgotten about this because everybody's so dug into like, you know, the Gen X generation, they got video gamed out. Like they were like the first generation to be hit with the video game attack. What I was explained to by the generation before boomers, they explained to me how video games were an absolute attack. Yes, I spoke to an elder before boomers. Um, that whole thing was an attack, but it was also to prep us to fight against each other. And they really have gotten to that point where they've been able to do that. But that's just the base level of the technology that was put out there. What he was suggesting is that it's way higher up. That kind of that kind of shitting down the river came from all the way up at the top. Instead of using this technology that they had been developing to make the world better, they realized that they want money. But then they're like, well, we're the something that begins with a G. Um, we shouldn't be talking about capitalizing on people's data, on people, playing these games. We shouldn't do that. But then, Japan got an idea, China got an idea, everybody got an idea to make video games. They were like, yeah, let's make video games. Okay. And then Japan got involved and China got involved. So we exported it and we got sold out first in video games. So our souls ended up in a battle. If you weren't active while you were playing those video games, if you weren't actively out there in like the world while you were undergoing this attack, because it's an attack, then your brain might be close to mush. Dude, it's been like a half an hour, bro. Hell, DoorDash. I love you, DoorDash, but what the hell? So what we're looking at right now is there's a lot of people that like are reaching the top because they're using AI. They've got a clean sound mind, clean sound environment to work in. Not a regular steady stream of distractions. That's what's holding me back. I'd already be on this bandwagon, probably making $4,000, $8,000 a month, like they fucking say they are. But I can't organize it all. It's like I'd sit here. I have to sit here in like 3 hours of thought, writing stuff down, doing all this on this device, making sure I got the authentication set. Like I have authentications, the 2FA set on my regular accounts, but if I were to make what I'm suggesting, you do that on a whole different account. You'd have to make a whole set of everything. So I would have to sit here for like an entire 4 days straight, just unbothered. And to be able to have this as a plan and then be unbothered during that time. You know, if I wanted to keep writing that video game, I would have needed to be unbothered for like 3 months straight. But obviously I wasn't. So there's people out there that are unbothered that have this already running, you know, but those opportunities, if you noticed, with making that much money, there's one person in charge of like 15 parts of the operation. That's how they're making their money. So they're taking away jobs. Like, I mean, all power to them, but they're removing the unnecessary jobs because they don't have to hire anybody to do this, to do that, to the other. As I'm making more and more sounds, because that's what I've been doing lately, I've been trying to finish up my sounds before I go back into the game because I want to get all my soundtracks figured out. Also, I have the credits left. I got still 2,000 credits. I got to make like 500 songs or 400 songs or something. But as I'm doing it, I'm realizing how, what if I didn't have AI? What if I didn't have a generator that could pop out a quick image? I would need to pay somebody to go and make that image, and it would take them like freaking a whole week in order to type all that code out and figure it all out. That's why AI is just, it's speeding it up. And it gives you the opportunity to remove a job. So now the graphics designer isn't even needed. And oh wait, but the AI still needs data to feed from. So they've got enough money now to hire whoever the hell they want. You turn a dude into a billionaire in a quick second. The AI industry is about to explode. By 2027, this place is going to look different. Everything's going to look different. You're probably going to start seeing space age looking like everything around you soon. So in the next 6 to 8 months, that's what I'm thinking. Is it's going to be a huge transformation in our manufacturing, where everything becomes almost like quickly 3D printed. So the whole thing is, with 3D printing, there's a new law coming in. Apparently, Bloomberg backed it, something like that. And I heard about that through Louis Rossman. So he was talking about that. But um, the 3D printing industry kind of puts these patent holders out of a job. That's why these people that have brilliant minds that could make things so, like, make the world about 75% more efficient right now. They can do it in the next 3 months. They don't want to do that because they're not going to hold the power over that kind of technology. You put a patent in, yeah, it costs a shit ton of money, and you're giving your product away because you show somebody your entire schematic. Nature Jab, I think it is, the dude who's doing the plastiline, he was explaining that while he was sitting in a car. How you throw your patent up there, now everybody knows about it. This is something that I knew about for a long time. I'm like, you know, I didn't invent anything quite yet that's solid, that has such a master plan that could be taken by somebody else in a way. But yeah, that's why brilliant minds aren't coming up with these new technologies, the ones with the power. It's because if they come up with these patents, they file these patents, now everybody else sees it. They can go and snag that. With 3D printing, I saw the dash screen move. With 3D printing, like every one of their patents can just be stolen in a quick minute. Because all you need to do is just a small tweak here, small tweak there, and now it's your patent. So once they get that under control, that's why they're trying to make the 3D printing software, which will look out for these guns that can be made, these weapons that can be made with 3D printing. It's going to have their eyes out for that, but as well, it's going to be a patent infringement copyright screener, basically. So they're forcing 3D printers, through doing 3D printing, to do it. You need a special software that looks out for that, but it's also looking out for the patent. Like it's looking out for weapons, but it's also going to be looking out for the patents, so that nobody can steal the patents. And if they can pass that, then like there's a law that's being passed or trying to be passed. If they can pass that and control 3D printing, then these companies will exponentially explode in their innovations. You will see. If it gets passed, 2027 is space age. Count my words. Space age. You're going to see 3D printed batteries. You're going to see 3D printed houses that actually stand up after 10 years. You're going to have a lot of different stuff that you just didn't expect. We're going to get rid of wood. Microplastics are going to be like through the roof. That's what's going to mainly kill us, probably. I believe that everybody's loaded with microplastics. I know I am, because I got a dryer sitting next to me while I'm in this room, so there's particles all over the room. I'm always breathing in somebody else's dust. So microplastics, it gets into our system, and then it basically it wedges itself, because it's micro-sized, into tissues, and it even has made it into people's brains. Apparently it broke the blood-brain barrier, which is difficult to do. That's why we generally don't get viruses into the head, and it inflames the tissue because it's displacing the tissue, and therefore it causes swelling and whatever else, a lot of different issues. It fucks with excuse my language, the cardiovascular system gets disrupted, and a lot of stuff gets disrupted. And then it causes a lot of the issues that we see today that were unseen 20 years ago. I think obesity is like the number one cause to it right now is microplastics. That's my opinion. There's people that have like thyroid conditions. I would want to check that all these thyroids, for microplastics. Because but the problem is it's already in us. It's already in us. We can't avoid it. So we've already been poisoned. Alright, seeing as I still don't have the freaking order. go. Come in. That's right. Come on. Come on, people. I don't know how I said doesn't inspire people, make people want to talk about it a little bit more. It may be like the style of my live stream where it's like a little bit too up in the air. Oh, look at me go. Oh, foot unbandaged. I gotta play a wobbling game, left and right, to keep off of one leg a little bit, not twist it, step on the other foot, and not harm it. Hey, somebody took the chair? No, they didn't. Oh, okay. But yeah, you gotta work from, the bottom up. That's just, everybody knows that, right? Not many people practice it. If you're driving a vehicle and you haven't paid it off yet, if you're living in a house and you still haven't paid it off yet, you don't own that house. You don't own that vehicle. It's not permanent. You're not up there yet. There's a lot of people that feel super high up on the horse, and it's like, yeah, it's a good thing to promote that kind of thought process. And it's good to reach, but it's like, you gotta be within the freaking bounds of it first. Within the bounds of the ladder, the rung. It's a little bit. Yeah, I'm trying to be really polite. I'm keeping my light down enough so I'm not blinding anyone ever. So I have pointed kind of down, and I did not see that traffic cone so soon because my light was pointed down. Alright? So me trying to be helpful and be working with the community worked against me. And if that happened to me, imagine how many other people that's happened to in the past, and how we're basically making enemies by just ignoring those problems, like, well, bad luck.
come on a helping hand. They could have, they could have done it with ease. Then, you're just letting your world crumble up, and you're self-destructive. You're doing the thing that, it's insane, because, like, I had older people telling me, all my fault, the things I did wrong, right? I'm just noticing. Like, a lot of people trying to reach for the top, and they don't understand how it works. You might get lucky. That's a 1% chance. All these people living in houses right now that actually own it, actually paid it off and stuff, those people are like the 1% lucky people in the entirety of it. Because you have to include old generations too. You got to include billions more people. Because the population increase, that's not really the statistic to pay attention to. It's how many people were alive in the past. We've had like 3 billion people gone, probably. So out of those 3 billion people, you got like, what? The 10% out of us right now is probably about, anyway, so a lot of people failed at trying to reach the top of the ladder. Just because you see people that reach the top of the ladder doesn't mean that they're gonna be holding their hand out for you. Obviously, they don't even want to donate $1 unless it's something like super hype or super edgy or super destructive or super whatever they can grift on with an emotion. It says Lucifer is like in the heart or something. It's like something about the heart. Don't follow your heart, because it leads you to like devil or something. Like what that should actually mean, instead of actually just saying that, it means that your emotions shouldn't be what drives you, because you're supposed to be driving your emotions. I learned that when I was like an adult. It took me until to be an adult to truly figure that out. And I think it's because, you go through the changes when you're in your teens. It's hard to really grasp one of these concepts. It should be built by your achievements. What I should do tonight, instead of working, is going around to these curbs and seeing if there's anything to pick up. I wish that was free, because I would grab that. That'd be sweet. I'd be able to, attach a motor to it. Attach 2 motors in the back. That'd be insane. Put the fucking battery in the front. Put the motors in the back. Yeah, if I had a set of blinds, I wouldn't be using those Anyway, so what I was saying before is that basically, in order to build the society back up, it's not one person that's going to fix it. The president of the United States is not going to fix it. It's never going to happen. What can happen is the president of the United States can destroy it all. If we had Kamala in there, that would have got entirely destroyed. We would have been on the fast track to implosion. Done some. If all these foreign invaders worked with the citizens of America, they'd have an actual grassroots support of Well, they helped us. They came here and helped us more than our common, American people. And that's what's happening in a lot of cases. A lot of these votes are getting bought out. There's people that did come from a different country and they're treating Americans better than Americans treat Americans. So that's why there's even some kind of an attack back. It's like that's why they even have a mode of attack. Is because, like, imagine if Americans were helping Americans, not helping the older generation wants to be fucking retarded. They want to just be really narrow-minded. What I'm saying is being productive and actually like part of the community. You see like self-serve farm stands. If I end up getting a steady share of money, those are the places that I want to go to. I want to support my local people, support the local farm stands. If you're buying, that's supporting a local. That's not huge, big business. I'm not against grocery stores. Grocery stores need to exist. I mean, we should already have like self-serving farms, not self-serving the way that I was talking about earlier with the stand. What I'm saying is like, self-services and just, we have that. It's not hard. There's people growing pineapples from the fucking heads of pineapples. Like, bro, it doesn't take very much time and effort. You just need space. You need materials to grow. Into a bucket and there's just sprouts coming off of it. Wow. I haven't even watered it yet. It's got its own moisture because it's a potato. It's like a fresh potato. So it's just growing in the soil. Chilling. I'm not saying give up all your land to go and help someone. I'm saying is if you got a little extra, you go and help someone. You might end up helping someone like myself. You might do well and start getting a real good message across. Like I saw something amazing earlier. This is really the inspiration for this video. I saw somebody talking about the Bible and about a seed and how like the roots go down and they go to darkness before we find the light and stuff like that. That was inspirational. But I wanted to remind everybody, like, how did you get to where you're at? You had to crawl before you walk. You had to build a foundation first. If everybody's constantly, living above their means, going into huge credit card debt, and they're buying all these really expensive things. I see too many expensive things from people that say that they're doing terribly poor. I'm not doing too well financially. Why the fuck do you have that? Why did you spend money on that? Oh, you didn't spend the money on that. It's borrowed. DoorDash. Let me know what up. Gas price going up and down, up and down. Every day's a new price. yeah, dude. Like, I can't really continue on the topic too much. That's why I'm bringing up other stuff. If other people had input, we could have a whole conversation about this. But it's like, here's the chance. Here's everybody's chance. Right here in this live stream, people have a chance to start something. Let's begin something. Oh, wait. No, nobody wants to do that. When people see a problem, they walk away from it all the time. Dude, if you're a person who walks away from the fucking problem every single time, like, that's the problem. Top-down problem, you know? The people at the top don't want you at the top. 99% of the time, you're going to get kicked back down. But you're not at the top if you are driving a truck and you haven't paid the thing off yet. You still owe that fucking truck. One day, the bank can take it. One day, your job stops operating because AI, they can take it. Nobody's going to have sympathy for you. There's no bailout for you. You are the one that bailed out the big companies. You didn't say anything about it. I was a kid, man. There's nothing I could do about it. Going this way because I'm like in between like 3 different stores. Person who goes to church and you're like, damn, you know, the church is kind of dumb for like the whole donation thing. It's really just practice to do that in your own communities. Like, if you have 100 people, everybody has $1, throws in, chips in, now you can get somebody something that they actually need in your city, closer to being more out of your way. You know, people got into my way, now I'm in people's way. I don't want to be. That's just where I'm stuck at. Everybody want to leave their screws in the back of their truck? Let them fall out of parking lots and get freaking flats in my car? Gotta go spend $100 a freaking tire? Then I gotta go spend another $100 a freaking tire because, oh, that place did it, they gave me shit tires. They did it too quick for me to even fucking realize. I'm gonna go to a specialty place just to get a new tire. I gotta overspend at that other place. It could have all been prevented if the person that's making 10 grand on every job that they complete spend a week on something, they make 10 grand a week. Bro, clean out your truck. It's not hard. Be a responsible adult. You're not a kid with fucking Lincoln logs. You're gonna toss them all over the ground. Right? This isn't child's playtime. What the fuck was that, dude? That was a cop, dude. A fucking state cop just drove within an inch of me. A fucking state cop, it is 10:06 p.m. and a fucking state cop, this is a breakdown lane, not a fucking bike lane. That was rude. That was very rude. That state cop was not paying attention at all. That was a Florida state cop. That's insane. What road is this? It's like 437 or something. That's insane, dude. That was the closest that somebody has got to me. And it was a state fucking cop. Holy shit. I know it because I saw the lights, I saw the paint. They were not paying attention. That was like endangerment. Okay, maybe I have a different opinion about the Florida state cops. Because that was insane. No one has got that close to me, and that was going 45, 50 miles per hour. Like, it was either that person wasn't paying attention to the road at all, or they were purposely getting that close just to scare me. But that was literally like just 1 fucking inch to the left. That would have knocked me off my bike and killed me. Once again, if I am in the road, it is because there are hazards on the side of the road. I believe this is 437 at 10:06. A state cop drove by me going probably about 50, 55, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that was fast. The other cars were not going as fast as the state cop. He came within 1 inch from ending my life. On purpose. I have never seen such nasty behavior. You know, I just saw a Lake County cop come by me. He did it right. He gave me the space. He was a decent person. Yeah, okay, so the problem is state cops. Now we know. I have never seen a cop drive like that before. That was insane. Now, where's the actual problem, you know? That's what we're all trying to figure out. But a state cop, well, I'm trying to avoid hazards in the breakdown lane, not the bike lane. This is not a bike lane. There are no bike lane signs on this lane at all. A cop just went by me at 50 miles per hour and almost took my fucking life. A state cop. The county cop comes by, gives me plenty of space. Courteous. So these local cops are decent. The state cops are nasty. At 10:06, a cop went by me. Literally, if I moved over just an inch, I would have lost my life. That was insane. I got my lights on. You can see them. Make sure you can see them. Just to give everybody the real lowdown. This is the breakdown lane here. This is not a bike lane. This is not a bike lane. You will not find a single piece of paint showing that this is a bike lane. This is a breakdown lane. And I'm done riding over your trash. And if you have a problem with it, I'm going to make it my freaking goal to go around and point out all the trash that is on the side of the road. Where I have to ride my bike, my little weak tires. Attention, fuckers. It is under my discretion whether or not it is hazardous, and it is absolutely hazardous. That was insane, dude. They had it like, it was like probably like AI driven too. That might have been an AI-driven vehicle, I don't know. But I've never seen a cop drive like that. And that was a state cop. So whoever is there higher up, they're not training their people right. But I caught it, you know what I mean? Like, that would be on camera, on that person's dash cam. They had their dash cam running. It would be on their dash cam. If anybody wants to look into that, 437, a state cop came within 1 inch of ending my life at 10:06 p.m. Eastern Time. He was going faster than the speed limit. And he passed by me with literally not even really an inch. It felt like he was just trying to tip my handlebar so I would fall off. So this is the kind of shit I'm up against. I think you own the fucking road. I pay taxes too. And I don't take benefits like you probably do. You get those loans to own a whole house without having paid it off yet. To go and act like an asshole, you deserve to lose your job. Jesus Christ, I go ride 8-9 miles, I'm getting paid $4, right? You drive 8 or 9 miles, you're spending $50 fucking of tax-paying money, and $200 on dispatch, all the operations involved, and then your fucking salary. That's why AI is going to replace you. No, it's not going to be all that much better. I'll tell you this, at least I got my fucking pride as a human being. You don't get to step on my fucking neck. That was insane. That person almost took my life. That was a person going 50, 55 miles per hour down 437 at 10:06. State cop. Within 1 inch of my handlebars. Barely. Not even. I have a feeling like that just we might get out. It says 1 to 3 minute zone offer wait time. I just like hit airplane mode. Basically reset it, you know. Zone offer wait time, 1 to 3 minutes. How can they give me a 15-mile order completely in the opposite direction? There was nobody else available, but they can't give me a 5-mile away distant order for the. Come on. I need to be able to toggle these settings. I need to be able to choose how far I'll go, so I have a limited, you know, distance to travel, and then I need to be able to choose. Like they need to do a couple of things with this, I think. I've already given them the information what to do with it. One to 3 minutes wait time, that's not right. It's not proper. Yeah, even if somebody is like, let's say, oh, you're not supposed to be at the roadway, dude, you're not supposed to also purposely, you know, endanger someone's life, because that was endangerment of somebody's life. That was insane. But there's a huge difference between different departments, apparently. I think, like, there's things going on right now where people have just had it. But it seems like certain places are more decent than others. To be honest, resting on my foot like that's hurting too much. I need to go. Do another. They might be repainting over there. Is the person working at this McDonald's actually like on a golf cart? No, people are going inside. The lobby's still open. Bro, come on. am I not getting the orders? All right, you know what? I'm going to shut this live stream off because you never know. It might be because of the live stream.